The focus of tonight's evening certainly is on honoring our recipients, but I do want to take a very quick moment to acknowledge a few special people that we have in the audience with us tonight. First of all, of course, tonight would not have happened without our Distinguished Alumnus Awards Committee. Not only did they select our recipients this evening, but they worked tirelessly to make sure that the evening is a success. And I'd like for them to raise their hands as I call their name out. Mike Aldridge served as our chairman this year, along with Martin Benoit, Sharon McCabe, Ray Moore, who is not here, Jill Roy, and Milt Wing. Thank you very much. We are also extremely honored to have some previous recipients of the Distinguished Alumnus Award with us tonight, and they are, if you would stand when I recognize you, please, and we'll acknowledge all of them at the end. Mike Aldridge in 1999, Dr. Carolyn Crawford, who received the award in 1994, Joan Latoul, who also received the award in 1994, Homer Wallace from 1994, and J. Donald Warren Jr. from 1999. Congratulations, and we're happy to have you back with us. Also, Mrs. Ann Pigg is with us this evening. She is the daughter of Lamar's former president and two distinguished alums, the late and very missed Mary Gray, and also the daughter, of course, Dr. John Gray. Mrs. Pigg, you're with us this evening. Will you show us where you are? Thank you for being here. And Ann's niece and Dr. and Mrs. Gray's granddaughter, Mrs. Kathleen Richardson, is also with us. We're happy to have you. Always a joy to have with us is a previous executive director who we have given the title Executive Director Emeritus of the Alumni Association to, and that's Ms. Wanda Fiorenza, who's with us this evening. Wanda. We have several past presidents of the Alumni Association with us tonight, and I'd like for them to raise their hands when I call their name. Mike Aldridge, Bo Crawford, Dan Hallmark, Gene Fagelson, Doug Matthews, and J. Donald Warren Jr. Thank you for your presence this evening. Always behind the scenes in every alumni function is our current executive director, Bonnie Boykin, who is here this evening, and also a member of the alumni staff, Amy Fisk. Where are you this evening? There's Bonnie. And there's Amy. Thank you both. Last but not least on the acknowledgments record, I want to thank Frank Messina, who is a board member, and Debs Licker for their contributions this evening. Also Cynthia Hicks, who is an 89 and a 93 graduate of Lamar, who's on the LU Public Relations staff and handled the PR for us for this event. And Karen King, who's the 8th floor coordinator, for all of her hard work and cooperation. So we thank all of you as well. Let me tell you just a little bit about the Distinguished Alumnus Award. It is the most prestigious award that is offered to an alum through the Alumni Association. It's given to honor individuals who, through their life's work and their professions, have excelled, who have set records of achievement, and who live the ideals of higher education through Lamar University. They have a high interest in their former alma mater, and they are extremely loyal to our university. They're distinguished among their peers, and eligible candidates may be nominated by any member of Lamar Alumni Association or also by the LU faculty and staff. I have to tell you, we had a very large number of nominations this year, and the selection process was onerous, to say the least. We're very, very excited and proud about our three recipients this evening as they were chosen by the Distinguished Alumnus Committee. Including tonight's recipients, we have honored thus far only 42 alumni, and they all give Lamar University the exposure and the credibility and make us proud to count ourselves among their numbers. Having said all of that about the award, I'd like to move into presenting the awards to our three recipients this evening. Each of them have chosen someone to tell us a little bit about them and actually make the presentation. Our first presenter this evening is Mrs. Charlene Leonard. Many of you don't need an introduction to Charlene. She's a 1953 alum. She's a life member of the Alumni Association, a faithful volunteer and supporter of Lamar University as a whole. At this time, I'd like to ask Mrs. Leonard and Mary Jo Ford to both come forward, and we'll carry on our first presentation to our very worthy Distinguished Alumnus recipient. Charlene?
It was a day that began very much like many other days. I was 14 years old and a student at Beaumont High School. Suddenly, the principal's voice was heard on the intercom telling us that Mary Jo Lampson, another 14-year-old from South Park High School, had been stricken with polio. She had been taken to John Seeley Hospital in Galveston and placed in an iron lung, changing her life forever. In those days, students all knew each other because of cross-town competitions in many areas. I remember it very well and recall the concern our students felt. Mary Jo became a quadriplegic at that time, regaining only limited use of her arms. She went on to graduate from high school with honors, and our paths crossed again when we both became freshmen at Lamar State College of Technology, where she was the 1951 homecoming queen. She received bachelor's and master's degrees. My new husband and I moved away from Beaumont, and I recall as the years went by hearing of Mary Jo's accomplishments in her adult life. So it has been my honor and privilege and pleasure to know her for over 50 years. Mary Jo's can-do attitude, tenacity, determination, and sweet spirit has made her an inspiration for all of us. And oh, that famous Lampson smile that we all love. Her significant civic involvement and her commitment to Lamar and to the Alumni Association is evidenced by her support of these endeavors with her time, talent, and treasure. In honoring Mary Jo Lampson Ford as a distinguished alumnus, we bring honor to our university and our association. We are past due in recognizing this multi-talented, gracious, and courageous woman. I would like now to read briefly from the plaque, and the words are printed in your program if you'd like to also note those. And I'll read just some excerpts of it that we will be presenting to Mary Jo. Fully engaged in life, whether as student, artist, wife, mother, educator, civic activist, or businesswoman, Mary Jo Lampson Ford defines the word inspiration. At Lamar State College of Technology in the early 50s, she earned a Bachelor of Science in Social Studies and Art. Fellow students carried her up and down the steps and across campus. At that time, the buildings were inaccessible. With a master's degree in speech and hearing therapy from the University of Houston, she taught 7 years in South Park High School before marrying Joe Broussard III. Proud of those who were her speech therapy students, her proudest accomplishment is her family. 4 children, 4 grandchildren. After the death of her husband Joe, she married Bob Ford, a retired electrical and civil engineer. Still a certified speech-language pathologist, she owns 2 businesses, Broussard Beefmaster Cattle Company and MJB Artwork. She returned as an adult to her early interest in art. She's a life member of the Alumni Association, whose record of civic activism few match. The public career of her brother, United States Representative Nick Lampson, has led her to volunteer work in the political arena. A long list of clubs and organizations and events that she has supported with time and talent testifies to her unwavering commitment to Lamar, the Alumni Association, and the community. We have some greetings that you will hear from later to do with Nick, from Nick Lampson. He had other responsibilities, and you'll hear those at a later time, but I know he wanted to be here. He was very distressed that he was not able to come. And also Lynn Sweat, of course, sends his best to Mary Jo. In closing, may I quote from another outstanding woman who overcame her physical disabilities to make a difference in our world, Helen Keller. We can do almost anything we want if we stick to it long enough. Well, Mary Jo has stuck to it, and she still is. Now let's stand up for her. One moment, a technical adjustment. I don't know how to turn this on. That little thing there.
Oh, thank you for this very nice honor. I will display this plaque that she's going to give me, I guess.
I want to hang it in my house a while.
Are you going to keep it, Charlie?
I'm going to put it on your table.
Thank you so much. Oh, I would especially like to thank Dr. and Mrs. Simmons, the Lamar University Alumni Association, Bonnie Boykin, Executive Director of the Association, Laurie, Rachel, and all of you who have been so kind to me in recent months. Bud and Charlene for lifting me up, both figuratively and literally, through the years, and all my friends at Lamar University. I thank you. It is a great honor to be a distinguished Lamar alumnus, and I am especially honored to be selected for this award at the same time as Bud Leonard and Joe Tatoris. Bud has played such an important role for Lamar's success, and Joe has created so many jobs for our community. Lamar has always been an important place for my entire family. All 6 of us sisters and brothers graduated from Lamar. Someone in the family is always attending. My daughter recently received her master's degree. My son-in-law will receive his chemical engineering degree tomorrow morning, and my niece starts her college in June. Lamar has changed our lives for the better, and certainly has given us a brighter future. I would like to also thank my family, wherever you are, for you are the ones who made it happen. You supported me spiritually, emotionally, and physically all these years. Tonight, I have my mother here, and I'd like for you to stand. Nancy Lampson. Two of the 4 are here. Jimmy Lampson and his wife, Nomi. Would y'all stand, please? Stand. Jimmy and Nomi. And Dr. Gene Lampson and his wife, Shively. The other 2 brothers were not able to make it, but I must say that they've given me so much support through the years. My oldest brother, J.J. Lampson, and his wife, Janet, of Lake Tahoe, Nevada, and Congressman Nick Lampson and his wife, Susan, and my sister, Frances Ann, and her husband, Robert Bro, of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My life has been filled with blessings, and among my greatest are our children and their spouses. Joe and Johnny Broussard. Could you stand, please? They have Kate, Beth, and Joe, our first 3 grandchildren, and they're beautiful. Jimmy and Monica Broussard. Stand. My daughter, Michelle and Andy Miller. We had a little son, Doctors John and Lori Broussard of New York City, who were not able to be here tonight. I'm also pleased, though, to have my husband's sister with me, Dana Ford. Would you please stand? And cousins, Lee and Dan Murphy. Would you please stand? There you go. Last but not least, I thank my husband, Bob Ford, whose love and support I appreciate every day of my life. Again, this is a great day. One for which I will be forever grateful. Thank you very much.
See, I promised you a very special evening. Mary Jo, we're honored to be able to honor you this evening and your beautiful family. Thank you all so much for coming and being part of this very special occasion. We truly love you. Our next recipient will also be a special pleasure. I'd like to ask Doug Matthews to come forward. Let me tell you a little bit about Doug. As he and Bud Leonard come forward, Doug is the 1974 graduate of Lamar, and he's an ex-football player for the university. He's a former regent. As you already heard, he is also a recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award and a former Alumni Association president. Doug Matthews.
Thank you. I am deeply honored to be given this opportunity to present to you one of the most committed, dedicated, humble, caring, and understanding Lamar alumnus in the school's history. I have been given an impossible task. I have only 5 minutes to present my good friend, Bud Leonard. A large part of Lamar's success over the past 50 years can be traced to this Lamar graduate, a man who loved working behind the scenes as a team player and in a leadership role when needed. He is a person not seeking recognition, but a person trying to make things better at Lamar University. And boy, was he successful. His comment when asked why, he said, "Well, Doug, it's been a 52-year love affair with Lamar." What a great response. Bud Leonard attended Lamar University. It was Lamar Tech when he was junior college. Excuse me. Yeah, I was just 2 years old when he was in attended. Bud attended Lamar on an athletic scholarship. He was co-captain of the 1949 Conference Co-Championship football team. He was a charter member of the Ex-Student Association, now the Alumni Association. He was the recipient of the John Gray Award for the graduate athlete with the highest scholastic average. He graduated from Lamar in 1953 with a BS degree in education. He later obtained from Lamar his master's degree in mass communication speech in 1977. He is married to the former Miss Charlene Matthews of Beaumont.
No relation.
No relation. Well, we distant cousins. Distant cousins. Real distant. Like Thomas Jefferson, distant. Together, they have 2 children, Joni and Will. His son and daughter-in-law, Will and Christy Leonard, have provided him with 2 twin granddaughters, Ann Kellum Leonard and Claire Matthews Leonard. Did I get it right? Thank you. All right. In 1964, Bud was owner and manager of an advertising and public relations firm. In 1966, he merged his firm with a Houston-based advertising agency, becoming vice president and general manager of the Beaumont division. Bud Leonard was a veteran advertising executive in Beaumont and Houston for 10 years. In August 1975, he was appointed vice president for university relations at Lamar. In this capacity, he helped hire the first full-time executive director of the Alumni Association, and the first full-time association secretary. In October 1984, he was promoted to Assistant Chancellor for Development and Vice President for University Relations, Beaumont campus. During his tenure at Lamar, the various alumni boards and presidents to which I served established the Permanent Fund, Distinguished Alumnus, and other alumni awards, secured 2 houses on campus to serve as the Alumni Association's office space, and established several of our alumni scholarship programs. Also during his tenure as head of Lamar's development efforts, Bud's department was responsible for raising almost $45 million in donations for Lamar. Bud never met a donor he didn't like. He was one of 10 men called on by athletic director J.B. Higgins to organize an athletic booster club to be called the Cardinal Club. He was organizing president for the Lamar University Cardinal Hall of Honor Council. He was an organizing member of the Friends of the Arts, Lamar University Fine Arts Department. He was inducted into Lamar University's Cardinal Hall of Honor in 1974. In 1987, Lamar University Alumni Association, under the distinguished administration and executive director Wanda Fiorenza, presented him with the Golden Cardinal Award for exceptional service to the association. In 1999, he was inducted into the Lamar University Theater Wall of Honor. He was the 1999 Nature's River Festival King Nature's. In February 1994, Bud Leonard retired from Lamar University. In September 1995, he formed Action Creative Team Incorporated, a public relations agency. He remains active in over 20 organizations. In 1998, to show his versatility, as a member of Calder Baptist Church in Beaumont, he was chairman of the Church Capital Fund Drive that raised $870,000. Bud and his lovely wife, Charlene, display a tireless vitality to Lamar University and to the Beaumont community, such as their involvement with the Opera, Music Commission, Chamber of Commerce, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and several other nonprofit organizations. He is a life member and past president of Lamar Alumni Association. Bud has done a lot more for Lamar and the Beaumont community than time permits me to tell you tonight. I would like to close by saying to my dear friend, Bud Leonard, congratulations and thank you for all you have done for this university, and as well as your hard work and dedication. Lamar is a better institution because of your 52 years of leadership, loyalty, creativity, vision, perseverance, and love for this university. Thank you, Bud, for showing all of us how to serve and support these universities. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one of Lamar's distinguished alumnus, Bud Leonard.
You don't need to read this, you talked long enough. Thank you, Jeff. It's been a great evening. We're out of time. Joe, you'll have to wait till next year. Sorry. Yeah, I figured that. Only got 3 hours here. Okay. No, I do want to say a couple things, and I don't want to forget them. I'm not going to read to you. The city of Galveston lost one of the greatest city managers in any city's history when they let Doug Matthews get away from them and go over to UTMB to be their #1 grant and fundraiser over there. Doug, thank you, my good friend, for being here, and your pretty wife, Janice. We love both of you, and thank you. And we're glad you're related to my wife. I want to echo what my dear friend Mary Jo said and just turn it around a bit. It's an honor for me to be inducted with her and Joe. I can't think of any better company to be in. Joe and his family are longtime friends, and he is one of America's true entrepreneurs. And Mary Jo is a fellow student at Lamar, much behind me, you might know, but a personal friend and an inspiration for these almost 50 years. I haven't known you quite as long as Charlene has. What I really appreciate is all of you being here to help us celebrate my son's birthday. Bonnie, you and Mike and the committee, y'all saved me a lot of money planning this party. Enjoy it, Will. Quite a night. Let me begin by saying thank you to the Distinguished Alumnus Committee for this senior honor. Mike, you and your chair people, I really thank you. As Charlene tells me on occasion, if I happen to do something nice for her, you shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. And I'd like to say thanks to all of you, especially my family and my friends, for being here. Before I introduce my family, let me just say that any small contribution that I may have made to Lamar really has been a labor of love. And I'm not alone. I look out there and see Jimmy and others who have labored here, and I know they love this place. Had it not been for Lamar, it's doubtful that I would have gotten a college education. I grew up in Austin, in the shadow of the University of Texas. And all I heard during my high school years from my teachers and from the practice teachers who came over from UT was how hard college was going to be, how difficult it was going to be, and how few of us would make it. So I came down here a very frightened young man. I'd have probably been a truck driver in Austin if it hadn't been for Lamar. I like to think I'd have been the best truck driver, but I would not have met and married my co-ed sweetheart or have the wonderful family that puts up with my shenanigans. Charlene, you've already been introduced, but would you stand up again, honey? My son and his dear wife, Will and Christy. Christy's parents, Carol and Mike Gamble, would y'all stand up? Charlene's first cousin, Dorothy, and M.W. Ford from over at Dayton. Their daughter, Jessica, and son-in-law, John Johnson, and their son, Sam Mizzou. You're going to hear a lot from this young man down the line. Another part of my family is here tonight, and I mean that sincerely. We've been friends for more years than I can tell you. These are guys and their wives. We played ball together and went to school here at Lamar. The 49 team and some on beyond that. Would you guys over there stand up? They're all a little old now, but they're great guys. There are other members that we call our family over here with the immediate family, and we just couldn't make it without those folks. I know I'll get into serious trouble if I start introducing people by name, but there are university colleagues here, golf buddies, alumni co-workers. One of the organizers of the Cardinal Club, Moody Williamson's over here. He was one of those 10 guys that met. Fellow church members, my pastor, other longtime friends who are really like family to Charlene and I. And we thank each and every one of you for being here with us tonight. There's one person not here tonight. You've already been introduced to his daughter and his granddaughter, and that's Dr. John E. Gray. John is my friend, my mentor. He's meant the world to me. I fell in love with John Gray when I was that 19-year-old scared-to-death freshman here at Lamar. We had been through 2-a-day workouts and classes had started, and I'm hurrying down the hall of what is now the Student Affairs building. We had English and history and government and math and everything else in that building in those days. And this very tall, very handsome man in a short-sleeve, open-neck sports shirt crossed over and blocked my way with his arm, and he said, "Well, buddy, how you doing? How do you like Beaumont? How do you like Lamar? What kind of football team are we going to have?" Spent maybe 15, 20 seconds with me. And when he walked away, friends, I was about 4 feet off the floor. The president of the university had called me by my name. You don't know what an impression that made. Some years later, when Dr. Gray asked me to join him out here as Vice President of University Relations, And after I decided I'd do it, I went home and told Charlene, hey, I'm going to be a vice president out at Lamar. She said, that's no big deal. I said, what do you mean, a vice president? She says, honey, I shop at Kroger. They got vice presidents for every department over there. She said, they even have a vice president in charge of fish. I said, she's lying. She's lying to me again. When I had a chance, I sneaked out and I called Kroger. Lady answered the phone. I said, may I speak to the vice president in charge of fish? She said, yeah, would that be fresh or frozen? She keeps me on the straight and level, folks. During my professional career at Lamar, I had the privilege of working with some truly great administrators, deans, faculty members, students. I'll never forget some of the students who came to my rescue, being the new kid on the block, not knowing anything about what went on inside the university, and volunteers and elected officials who made my job very special. I also had a great staff. I had the privilege of hiring some great people, but I brought a lady with me from my business named Melba Bruno. And much of the success that I have enjoyed goes to that very special lady who we lost to an untimely death. Most of all, my job brought me into contact with some loving, generous, concerned people, great people. Lamar's first $1 million donors are here, Homer and Jane Wallace, right over here. They set the bar considerably higher for gifting to Lamar, and I'm happy to say, as I know our current president is, we sure glad a lot of other people fell in line and followed that lead. There were individuals, volunteers who went out of their way to help. I call them my white knights. Two of them are here tonight. My adopted brother, Bill Pittman's over there. He was captain of one of the teams during the first fundraising drive of the Cardinal Club. My first assignment from Dr. Gray was to raise the money, the startup money for the Center for Economic Development. I went to another good friend and a former client, Charlie Glass. He was vice president for marketing down at what was then Gulf States Utilities. Told him my problem. He said, man, we can do that. I got a plan. We're going to go to all these plant managers. We're going to ask them to give $1 per employee, and we're going to raise this money. And he did, and we did, and wasn't it good? What I'm trying to say is, I thank you for this exceptional honor. I accept it on behalf of my family, my friends, my Lamar University colleagues, my good old football buddies, our dedicated alumni, our alumni directors and boards, and volunteers, and countless other Lamar supporters and generous donors who made me and Lamar University look good. In closing, and I know it's time, I've always been fortunate that God has blessed me in so many ways. Family, health, friends, and yes, even material goods. He blessed me with a career that allowed me a lot of freedom, a lot of opportunities to be involved in the privilege of two separate but distinct yet related vocations. In the advertising business, I was either working at a job that I would have had as a hobby. You can't beat that. In the second half, I worked for this institution that means so much to me. As they say in the commercials, it just don't get any better than that. Thank you again, and God bless you all.
But it's quite evident that the Lamar University that so many of us know and love so very, very much would be quite different today, would it not be for your presence. We thank you for everything that you've done for us. Now please allow me to introduce our final presenter this evening, Dr. Robert Swerdlow, who is a 1970 and a 71 graduate of Lamar, holding a bachelor's and a master's degree. He is a member of the Alumni Association and currently serves as the Associate Dean of the College of Business. This time I'd like to ask Dr. Swerdlow and Joe Torres to approach the podium.
Well, there's a plus and a minus of going last. The minus is, of course, that you have to follow all these wonderful speakers who have come before you. And the plus is that I get to introduce Joe Torres. When I was asked to think about nominees for this Distinguished Alumni Award, I was the one that nominated Joe, because I've known him throughout my career and his career in many different levels. And Bonnie told me, like she told all the rest of the presenters, you have 2 to 3 minutes to speak. But then I told her I needed more time. She says, okay, you can have the George McLaughlin allotment. Those who were here last year, that may mean something to you. If you weren't, well, what can I say? It is indeed an honor to be here tonight to introduce my friend and a friend of our areas, Joe Torres, as a distinguished alumnus of this fine university. It was my pleasure to be not only his nominator tonight, but his friend for 30 years. I'd like to recognize the Lamar administrators and faculty who are here and ask that you stand, because you are the ones that represent the university today and have for so many years made this a great institution. Can I ask you to please stand? Dr. Simmons, Dr. Kale, and one person didn't stand up. Is Richard Drapeau here? Where is he? I saw him earlier. Richard? Richard was in classes with us back there in the Brown Shoe Army. Joe came to Lamar after his undergraduate work at Texas A&M to work on his MBA. He had to find some place to teach him how to do it right. Now, in those days, he was known as Joey. But as you grow up and you become successful, you become Joe. Okay? He still calls me Bob, and no one else in the world ever calls me Bob except him. Okay? And that's because we're such close friends. He was a great guy and a great student. He doesn't know this, but I went back and looked up his files. Since I'm the Associate Dean in the College of Business, I have access to all the files of our graduates. Now, I promised I wouldn't give you his academic record, although I did make a transparency of his transcript. I thought I would put up here, but he was admitted to the graduate program by the former Dean of the College of Business, J.D. Landes, on April 3rd, 1970. His graduate committee, do you remember who they were? I do. This is a test.
Well, let's see. It was Richard Cherry, Sam Parigi, and W.W. Bennett.
Absolutely. Dr. W.W. Bennett, not to be mixed up with R.O. Bennett, Dr. W.W. Bennett, who we called World War Bennett, was his chairman. Dr. Sam Parigi and Dr. Richard Cherry were his committee members. He was admitted to candidacy for the degree in October 1st of 1970. He graduated with me May 22nd, 1971 with his MBA. Now, I went back and the people in the records office will tell you I've been nosing around the records over there now for 2 weeks to find out who are the graduates during the year in which we went to school together, the year of 70-71. And I came up with a list of the graduates. And I will tell you it was a very distinguished group, not because of me, but because of people like Joe. In that group of 1 year of MBA graduates, a relatively small program, there are 2 bank presidents, 5 PhDs, numerous CPAs, numerous owners of businesses, and of course, the most successful of us all, Joe Torres. Now, Joe left Lamar and went to the Air Force because he'd come to Lamar after being an ROTC at A&M. He was on a leave from the Air Force, and he went back to the Air Force for his commitment to the country. When he came back from his commitment to the Air Force, he worked for the Department of Human Services, Department of Human Resources at the time, and then he started what we know as Jason's in Gateway, November 30th, 1976. And the rest, as they say, is history. Now there are about 80 Jasons and 6 Navratskis located from Colorado to Florida. They're all over, and they're growing. Joe is an exemplary member of our community and our region. He is a very devoted family man, not only to his immediate family, but to his extended family. And you can read, I'm not going to read what was in here to you, but you know that without his extended family, his business would not be what it is today. He is a wonderful, upbeat, far-sighted, entrepreneurial leader of our business world. I am very proud and very honored to call Joe a fellow alumnus of Lamar University, an inspiration, and a friend. Joe, I only have one thing to ask. Can I get a plain Jane 86 to Bacon.
I hope you can.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Torres.
I will take all your orders right now. We will deliver. I tell you, these professors, they do their homework, don't they? Bob. I'm glad I'm the only one that calls you Bob. I want to thank the Lord first for all his blessings, and they're sitting right at this first table. My wife Shelley, my children Ashley and Rob and Jay, and daughter-in-law Jenny, my parents Joe and Margaret, Jenny's parents Charles and Linda, and my sisters and their husbands. That sums it up for me. I tell you, I can't thank the Lord enough for what he's done for me. I'd also like to thank my company people, and we have some company people here today, and they're the reason we're where we are. They've just done a beautiful job. It's a people, we're in the people business. We just happen to be selling food, and that concept goes way back. But I honestly and deep down inside really believe that. The people of Beaumont have been incredible to us. They've stuck with us throughout all our early years of growth, when we had the cold pastrami when it should have been hot, and the knockwurst that was on the wrong bread, and you name it. It goes on and on in the restaurant business. But the people of Beaumont got us through those first early years, and we were able to get up and running and get the plane off the ground and get it going. And they're the reason why we're where we are today, I can assure you. I had a Lamar professor, and actually undergraduate. I'd come back to Beaumont during the summer and go to Lamar, and I took speech here, and he told me to always start with a quotation, some famous quotation. And one of my favorite that I always use in front of my company people, it's one of Joe Paterno's, head coach, Penn State, 2 national championships, fantastic individual, an Italian on top of that. He says, the will to win is important, but the will to prepare is vital. It's got so much truth in it. And that's what Lamar did for me. It was instrumental in preparing me to learn the business world. I had some wonderful professors here, genuinely outstanding guys like Dr. Cherry and Dr. R.O. Bennett and Dr. Sam Parigi. But W.W. took the cake, and I'll talk to you about him in a moment. But these guys were motivating and caring and enthused about their business. You were not a number in a Lamar class. You were a real person, and they came from the heart. And I will never, ever forget that. And it meant so much to me at the time and still does. You know, Bob said that I had just gotten out of A&M, and I had 4 years of the Corps at A&M, and it was spit and polish and marching and you name it. And I was ready for a little breather. I was ready for Mama's cooking and a little relaxation. And when I got to Lamar, I applied for a teaching assistantship, which you worked with a professor to help him out. And lo and behold, the professor I was assigned to was Dr. W.W. Bennett, a retired cigar-chewing retired Air Force colonel. Well, Dr. Bennett had technically retired from the Air Force, but he was still hanging on to it. And I was the first thing that came along, and so I had another year of the military. He didn't like the way I shined my shoes. He had 11 o'clock class, but I had to be there at 8 in the morning. I just knew one day we were going to form up at the end of one of the halls of the business building and be marching, Dr. Bennett and I. But in any event, it was a wonderful experience, and my colleagues in graduate school were just as motivating as professors. Bob was one of my special friends, and there's another one of my colleagues here tonight, and that's the president of Lamar Bank, Mr. Lonnie Weir. Lonnie. Lonnie had come back to Lamar to get his master's degree, and I'll never forget one class. It was a special projects class where we had to do this big paper, and you had to get in front of the class and present your paper. And the professor was just grilling me, blowing holes into my paper, and I could look out there at Lonnie, and he'd give me the little, "You're doing okay, you're doing okay." And I got through that paper with the help of Lonnie Weir, and I've never forgotten that, Lonnie. So thank you. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. This is an incredibly special occasion for my family and my company and I. We will be forever grateful to Lamar University for what you did for my education and for my company, and to the Alumni Association for honoring our family and our company. Thank you very much.
Joe, it's no wonder that you're the leader of a very successful business that we're proud to have based in Beaumont. As we wrap up this evening, I can't help but reflect on my own degree. I won't tell you when it was from Lamar University, but seeing the recipients and hearing their stories this evening just warms my heart and makes me feel like my degree becomes more valuable every day when I reflect on their achievements and what they have brought, the significant recognition that they bring to Lamar University. I'd like to know real quickly how many in the audience have either attended or graduated from the university. If you would raise your hands. Wow. Wow. Do you agree with me? I want to thank the three recipients.